Someone emailed this thing, asked about the texture. It's a it's an OBJ of a slide, but it's missing a material. Now, I'm sure the actual slide probably has a material, but somehow in the process of where it was to where it arrived, it lost its texture. Also, the view needs to be increased in here to see this entire. This is a huge mesh. It's a very large mesh of a slide. So I like slides too. Just turning it up, right side up. They asked about the collision mesh not working. Now, items will scale if um, they are origin set to the 3D cursor. They should scale with no problem. It's when their origin set other than 0, 0, 0, say like the object center, which makes sense. That makes it easier to rotate and adjust it when it's in the center. But if you want it to scale with the collision mesh, you need to. I mean, that's if you use the in-game. Um, I would not suggest that for this. You have some. Well, before I say shitty performance, let me check the poly count. Yeah, you're gonna have some shitty performance using this as a collision mesh. It's 48,000 faces. That's a lot of faces. I would not. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. This would get much more simplified. In fact, what I would do is go into edit mode, hit a mesh separate into loose parts. And sometimes you get lucky with this. You don't have so many parts, but in this particular case, separating into loose parts, I can isolate just this slide part here and see what its poly count is. Probably in a few thousand. 22,000. Shit, that's a lot. Yeah, you got some shit performance for sure. No ifs, ands, buts, or coconuts about that. We're gonna apply. We're gonna attach all these pieces back together, everything but the slide. Now, I'd say if you want to texture all this stuff separately, you'd probably want to leave it separated. That way, you don't have so much to do. So it can be more work trying to put a texture on something after the fact. That's not, you can add multiple textures to something, but it's just easier when you're working with individual parts than trying to like select all the faces and things. But all right, so my solution would be make a mesh plane. It's not always the solution to everything, but in this case, I believe it'll work. We're going to subdivide it. Damn it, that's not what I'm meant to do. Subdivide 100. Actually, we're going to subdivide it again. Now we're going to get out of edit mode. We're going to add a shrink wrap modifier. Shrink wrap to slide. We're going to do a project with a negative axis. I think this will get us closer. Guess all this shit, all these are going to be the same regardless. So yeah, this will get us in the ballpark anyway. I'm not sure. I guess that is pretty close. That's not bad. It's kind of, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but I think we'll get better results this way. Yeah, that'll be better. Now we'll apply the shrink wrap modifier. Now we'll get rid of all the excess that we don't need now. All of these can go. Or most of it. So we get a significantly lower polygon version of a same thing you see here. Oh, need to check the normals. Make sure we're not inside out. Oh, I guess while I'm here, I'll just make this one texture. We'll just call the texture slide, no, fun slide. And the other thing, I don't know, what is this called? Base posts? I don't know what you call it. All right, join these back together. Alright, I'm just being damn sure resetting everything's origin to the 3D cursor. Alright, apply all transforms. Now, this thing, we're going to change the name of that shit to Fun Slide, and we're going to put an underscore A 300. Now we're going to hide this collision mesh. We're going to duplicate this, and we'll put A100. Now we'll hide the 300, then we'll see how much we can get away with reducing the poly count to get it a lot closer than, a lot smaller than 48,000 polys. Let's see, 0.01. Took it down to 900 and something. I mean, it's not pretty to look at, but it is a lot better on poly count. Now, yeah, even that's an improvement. We'll take it. So they'll switch between LODs as they get farther away. Now we rename this to COL-MESH-1. That would be our collision mesh. And you don't join these together, by the way. The game knows if it's got a little underscore, little a and a number, it knows that as long as they're named the same, that they're LODs. It won't draw two things in the exact same place at the same time. One will transition at, when it's 300 pixels in size, it'll transition to the next LOD, or vice versa. I mean, I'm going to add two empty plane axes. Hold shift, left click, drag and drop, put start in the base, and then You can multi-select these, hold shift, left click, drag and drop and put them into start. Now we're going to export this thing as a DAE. Let's see here, levels, small grid. That's vehicles. That's levels. Alright, small grid. Or no, fun slide. But it's in small grid. Alright, let's load the level. Now, since this has a proper collision mesh, you don't have to fool with the inspector window over there, making it a collision. Damn, that's one big ass slide. And since I only did 2 materials, you only got like 2 colors. But I mean, you can separate this stuff in Blender. You can assign different faces to be different textures. I can show you that too. So fun slide will be whatever color I decide here. It'll be this color, for example, and I don't know, the other thing will just make it, I mean, it would look better with actual textures on it, but don't have any. Didn't come with any. You're gonna make this a little better, the blue one. Just make it by advanced, tell it to reflect level, and it'll somewhat reflect the surroundings, but there's not really a whole lot for it to reflect, but you get the idea. Oh yeah, and then rebuild your collisions. Oh yeah, and if you do any changes to your material, don't forget to save them too. Oh yeah, also, well, you could change the additional info. You can tell the ground type to be, say, frictionless, and then save. And you'll be slipping and sliding right on along. Right, looks like some good old-fashioned fun. Waiting on my controller to, there we go. But you're like, but it's not smooth. It's not smooth like the slide. Well, you can make it perfectly match. It's just going to be a lot more performance, which I don't really like that either, to be honest with you. Let me do this, actually, while I'm thinking about it. I can subdivide this even more and get a better fit. Oops, gotta hit A to select all. Edge subdivide. Let's probably go one more. I'll probably end up making the damn thing more polys than what if I just left it like the damn slide, but no, it's still less, 17,000. Alright, I re-shrink wrap it. But pick the high poly model. Shit, I forget. I got to redo this again. Damn. Son of a bitch. Alright, so this is using the better collision mesh. What? Well, it's probably the last place you set it down. Alright, let's see, see what would the regular collision mesh do if we didn't use the collision mesh in here. And we just simply use the slide. Maybe it'll be alright. for that damn. Alright, so this is using the high poly collision mesh. Basically, the model and its collision mesh is the model. It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong, but I think this is going to have more performance demand. Maybe not for my system, but maybe for yours. That's why I put both of them in here, so you got both versions. So if it runs like poo, then load the other one. Like, I probably won't notice a difference, to be honest. It's a pretty decent system. Not the best system in the world, but it's better than most. No, it don't really look like. It doesn't really look like it made that much of a smoothing difference at all whatsoever. Unless I'm on the wrong one, which is possible. Nope, that's the right one. Oh, the mesh isn't really that smooth. Not when you got something this large. It'd have to be a lot more smooth than that. You need a lot more polygons. But anyway, I'll just zip these two. So you got both versions depending on how they run. Maybe one runs better than the other.